First at 6, a missing woman found dead in Birmingham. What we know about the victim and the person being questioned by police. Then, celebrating 50 years, how one Tuscaloosa school is honoring its history and its very first principal. And later, you might want to check your fridge tonight. The recall impacting the milk products sold right here in Alabama.
Weather remains nice, dry, and hot for the next several days, but by the end of next week, we do need to keep an eye on the tropics. The National Hurricane Center outlining an area with a 60% chance of development. Could it potentially impact the Alabama and Georgia game in Tuscaloosa? We'll take a look at that and everything else coming up.
Live, streaming, and on the ABC 3340 app. This is ABC 3340 News Weekend.
First tonight, Birmingham police confirmed the woman found dead inside an apartment on Friday as Maria Sebastian Juan. Good evening, I'm Megan Scarano. Juan was first reported missing on Friday morning. This was the scene Friday afternoon at the Hillside apartment complex on 17th Street South. A welfare check was requested when family and friends believed this could be an area Juan could be. Birmingham police found her dead. She had not been seen since Thursday. Police took a person of interest into custody. They believe he was Juan's romantic partner. Her mother spoke to our crew at the scene on Friday.
I would like to say to domestic violence victims to if someone tells you they're going to kill you, beware. Don't just say, oh, he's just saying something. Really, really be careful. And be watchful and mindful of who you associate with.
A person of interest is now under a 48-hour felony extension for murder. He has not been identified. An autopsy will be performed to determine a cause of death. A Birmingham police officer now faces domestic violence charges. Justin Bissarat was arrested Friday after a woman reported an incident with her boyfriend. Officers discovered Bissarat was involved in a fight with the victim. He was taken to the Jefferson County Jail and has since bonded out. An Alabama state representative, Tracy Estes, is charged with third-degree domestic violence. Marion County jail records show he was arrested on Friday. He serves Marion, Winston, and Lamar counties. And just into our newsroom this afternoon, a police chase in Homewood ends with a wanted man behind bars. This is new video of that scene. Officers tried to stop the man on Green Springs Highway. The chase would end on 2nd Court West. The suspect was wanted for felony robbery and assault. Homewood police say he will now be charged with attempting to elude. The suspect's name has not been released. A live look outside this afternoon. The Auburn Tigers are wrapping up their first SEC matchup on the Plains. More on that a little bit later on tonight at EOG Wrap. But it was a beautiful day across central Alabama. Meteorologist Riley Blackwell joins us now. Riley, how long are these warm temperatures going to stick around?
I think we'll be dealing with this summer-like warmth for the next several days, but conditions are very fair with just light winds overhead right now and a few passing fair weather clouds as well. But most of us for the day have been clear, sunny, dry, and warm. We still have several 90s on the board right now. 91 Tuscaloosa, 92 Reform, Utah, Greensboro, 91 down in Demopolis, 90 here in Birmingham. A little cooler on the eastern side of the state, 85 Anniston, 87 Ashland, 88 down by the lake in Alex City. Now, overnight tonight, most of us dropping into the middle to upper 60s, right around 70, so still a little on the warmer side, with warm conditions expected to continue tomorrow, with still no rain chance expected for the next several days. However, by the latter half of the week, we do need to keep an eye on the area down in the tropics that will likely end up in the Gulf of Mexico by the middle and end of the upcoming week. But we'll take a look at all potential scenarios and impacts coming up with that full 7-day forecast.
One Tuscaloosa school is celebrating a major milestone today. 50 years ago, Woodland Forest Elementary School opened its doors. ABC 3340's Olivia Goche has more on the history of the school, plus the woman in leadership who started it all.
Go Woodland Forest!
Half a century of tradition, history, and most importantly, family. Woodland Forest Elementary alum, past and present staff, and members of the community gathered to celebrate the school's milestone and honor a woman who made it all possible. Shelley Edwards Jones, the school's first and founding principal in 1974.
They are just a progressive school, and Shelley Jones, she was outstanding, and she put them on the map.
Not only did Principal Jones leave an impact on the elementary school, but with everyone she encountered, something the current principal believes makes Woodland such an honorable school today.
When named principal of Woodland Forest Elementary School, I was so delighted to be able to carry on the traditions that have always been set and that were set first by Miss Shelley Jones, our first principal of Woodland Forest. So it means a tremendous lot.
In the library, attendees could look over several photo books that included memories of the school's 5 decades. As the school looks towards the future, the library will take on new meaning.
We wanted to make sure that it was a big space within the school, but also because of her rich love for literacy. If anyone that knew about Miss Jones, she knew she wanted to put a great book in your hand and a book that had diversity within the library.
The school is asking for donations to aid them in their library dedication. You can find more details on our website, abc3340.com. In Tuscaloosa, Olivia Goche, ABC 3340 News.
Also in Tuscaloosa today, a celebration of Hispanic heritage in West Alabama. The Tuscaloosa Public Library and the Tuscaloosa Latin Coalition hosted their 4th annual Hispanic Heritage Celebration. The purpose is to celebrate Hispanic culture and educate residents on the history and traditions of the 22 different Hispanic countries. Several resources were also available to help those who may not speak English as a first language. There was also food, music, and dancing.
It's really pretty out here, yeah. I really enjoy all the effort that everyone put into it, and it's just so nice to see the celebration of my culture and everyone else's culture.
Hispanic Heritage Month is celebrated September 15th through October 15th. And in the Magic City, the Birmingham Food and Culture Fest took over Sloss Furnace. The festival featured flavors and traditions that define Birmingham's culinary scene. Visitors at this year's Food and Culture Fest say this event is all about putting Birmingham on the map as a major food destination.
I think Birmingham is very fortunate to have an event like this. I think it's such a chill event, great music, the families, just the football, it's just, you know, it's the whole package. We just have so many great chef-owned restaurants, and I think that Birmingham's definitely on the radar in the whole country, but definitely, you know, in the Southeast, that's kind of one of the things, you know, that sets Birmingham apart.
ABC 3340's Evan Chikvera, Kira Hood, and Valerie Bell were also at the event, showcasing the magic of a green screen. The Birmingham Food and Culture Fest continues throughout Sunday. Today, Vice President Kamala Harris accepted an invitation for a second debate with former President Donald Trump. The debate is scheduled for October 23rd on CNN. This is what Trump had to say during a rally in Wilmington, North Carolina this afternoon.
The problem with another debate is that it's just too late. Voting has already started. She's had her chance to do it with Fox. You know, Fox invited us on, and I waited and waited, and they turned it down. But now she wants to do a debate right before the election with CNN.
Trump also told voters he would outlaw sanctuary cities and increase law enforcement to turn over undocumented immigrants. Harris made 2 stops on the campaign trail on Friday, including Atlanta. There, Harris spoke about reproductive rights. Harris later traveled to Madison, Wisconsin, promising voters she would address the country's housing shortage if elected.
But right now on the affordable housing issue, look, we have a shortage of housing in America, and it's contributing to driving up prices. So with my plan, we are going to cut red tape and work with the private sector to build 3 million new homes by the end of my first term.
This is her 4th trip to Wisconsin this election season. It's also a state Trump won back in 2016. It's been less than a week since the second assassination attempt against former President Donald Trump. He sat down for a one-on-one interview with Full Measure's Cheryl Atkinson.
If elected, you will arguably be the most targeted president in American history, whether we're talking about foreign threats or domestic threats. Does it change how you can govern If the Secret Service or some people say they can't guard you effectively at a static golf course, how can they guard you on an overseas trip?
Well, I think we just have to do what you have to do. You know, the only ones that really are trouble are consequential presidents. So in that way, it's a very nice honor. But it's true. I mean, I was a very consequential president and would certainly be, and maybe even more so this time, because I understand the system. I understand countries. I understand who rips us and who doesn't. And a lot of people don't. A lot of people don't have a clue. They don't even know what's happening. And I think that I will feel safe. I think I'm going to feel safe.
Are you ever scared?
I can't be scared, because if you're scared, you can't do your job.
You can watch Cheryl's interview with the former president right here on ABC 3340. That starts tomorrow morning at 9:30. The city of Pinson announced Mayor Joe Cochran died this week after a long, courageous battle with ALS. Cochran was first elected to the city council in 2004. He served as a councilman until 2016, and in 2020, he was elected mayor. The city says Cochran's wisdom, strength, and courage will continue to inspire future generations. New details tonight on a high-speed chase that ended in Brighton. 2 men are now in custody, and several narcotics and weapons were seized from the scene. 44-year-old Jarvis Allen faces several drug charges along with fleeing and eluding. A 19-year-old was charged with attempting to elude. Allen remains in the Jefferson County Jail. The chase started in Midfield and ended on Huntsville Avenue on Thursday. 2 deputy vehicles were also damaged in this chase. A Walker County student is behind bars after a bomb threat against Curry High School. The sheriff's office says a student was charged in juvenile court with making terrorist threats. The threat was made on Thursday as students were leaving for the school day. Everyone was safely evacuated. A 3-year-old was hit by a car Friday night in Odenville. It happened on U.S. Highway 411 near St. Clair County High School. The child was taken to Children's Hospital. We do not know the extent of their injuries. The driver stayed on the scene. The death toll in Lebanon continues to rise after Israel launched an airstrike against Hezbollah on Friday. 37 people are dead, including a Hezbollah commander. ABC's Marcus Moore reports.
The IDF launching a wave of airstrikes into southern Lebanon Saturday as tensions in the region continue to escalate. These airstrikes come one day after Israel struck a Beirut suburb that, according to the Lebanese health ministry, killed at least 37 people, including 3 children. Also killed in Friday's airstrike, Ibrahim Akil, one of Hezbollah's top commanders. Akil was wanted by the U.S. for his role in the 1983 bombing of the American Embassy and Marine Corps barracks in Beirut that killed more than 300 Americans. The IDF saying the strike not only killed Akil, but other top Hezbollah operatives who they say were hiding underground. Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu said in the statement regarding the strike, quote, "Our goals are clear and our actions speak for themselves."
This strike coming at a time of heightened tensions. There were 2 straight days of simultaneous explosions of pagers and handheld radios of suspected Hezbollah members, as well as intense fighting along the southern border with Lebanon and Israel.
In response, Hezbollah launching its own attacks. More than 100 rockets fired from Lebanon into northern Israel. Israel and Hezbollah have been exchanging fire since the Hamas October 7th terror attacks on southern Israel, which sparked a military offensive against Hamas. On Saturday, Israel striking the Al-Falah school in Gaza. According to the Gaza Health Ministry, at least 22 people were killed, many of them women and children. The IDF says the strike was aimed at Hamas terrorists operating inside the school. World leaders continue to call for de-escalation of tensions. Fighting continues to increase, adding to concerns of a wider conflict. Marcus Moore, ABC News, Beirut.
Boeing is now temporarily letting go of its executives, managers, and non-union workers as the plane maker faces 1 week of strikes. More than 30,000 union workers walked out last weekend. Our sister station in Seattle spoke with local union members as they continue to hold the picket line.
You had discussions with Boeing, and how is that going?
We had 2 days of mediated talks. There were no fruitful discussions. We're always pushed to the brink to take the ultimate sacrifice, and in this case, withholding our labor. It's our right, protected under federal law.
Boeing union workers are demanding a 40% pay raise. Management has offered a 25% pay bump over 4 years. We have 2 recall alerts to share with you tonight. First, General Motors is recalling 450,000 trucks and SUVs for a brake fluid issue. The recall impacts some 2023 and 2024 Chevy, GMC, and Cadillac trucks and SUVs. The car maker says the affected vehicles may not display a warning when the brake fluid is low. GM will update the faulty software for free. And you may want to check your fridge tonight. Lactate is recalling its 96-ounce cartons of milk for a possible almond allergen. The recall impacts more than 24 states, including Alabama. No illnesses have been reported so far.
It's almost been like an early summer day for today, mostly clear skies, but we still have that dry and calmer air mass in place. And we saw temperatures really widespread in the lower 90s. Now, rain chances aren't really expected for the first half of the week, but we do need to keep an eye from Wednesday onward in the upcoming week. Remember, the National Hurricane Center has now put a 60% chance of development over the next 7 days on that particular system down in the Western Caribbean. We're also watching this area just off the west coast of Africa that has a 40% chance of development over the next 7 days. But right now, our attention is turning to this particular system. Now, right now, really what we know is that we are expecting some sort of low pressure in the Gulf of Mexico by early and middle of the upcoming week. What we don't know is the intensity, where it could end up, or the potential impacts here locally or across much of the southeast. But we are expecting a tropical depression at least to form over the next several days. The probability is starting to rise in that particular area where the National Hurricane Center is closely watching. So let's start off with the GFS and just get a general idea of what we could expect. So the storm's likely going to be forming sometime Monday or Tuesday into a little bit more powerful system. But then by Thursday, it gets in the Gulf. And right now, models are fairly consistent with bringing this just to the east of Mobile Bay, which is somewhat good. We're still expecting wind and rain with this particular model, but being on the eastern side of the state, that is the drier side. And if we went by this particular model, right now, the weekend, the Alabama-Georgia game will likely remain dry, but it's over a week away, so things will certainly change. And let's go ahead and take a look now at the European model and take a look at potential mean sea level pressure. So the system's going to be forming sometime over the next several days, slowly but surely going to be tracking off to the north. And you see all of these circles indicating dropping pressure over the next several days. Usually about 985 or so millibars, still indicates a fairly strong system, but even this model bringing it off to the east. But looking at models yesterday, it had it impacting us to our west. Now it's showing off to the east. Still, the general idea and what you should take away is that we could likely have a tropical storm or even a hurricane in the Gulf of Mexico by the middle of next week. And the potential impacts, though, here in Alabama are still unknown. But we are expecting some rain chances to arise from this wherever it comes from. Right now, over the next 7 days, most of us should be expecting anywhere from about a quarter to a half an inch, with higher amounts further down to the south. But overnight tonight, anywhere from about 67 to 70, mostly fair, but still a little on the warmer side with that ridge in place. And we're likely going to remain sunny and warm for the next couple of days before rain chances likely going to be returning by Wednesday. But the amount of rain and how widespread it will be dependent on that tropical system in the Gulf.
Well, to keep up with all the tropical weather, you can scan the QR code right here on your screen to get access to the ABC 3340 weather app. The app gives you access to live radar, James's weather blog, and the 7-day forecast. We have just one more thing before we go tonight. A.H. Parker High School is celebrating 125 years in Birmingham. And County Commissioner Sheila Tyson honored the school's legacy with a major donation. The school was presented a check worth $125,000 before the football game on Friday night. The school's principal says the money will help provide students with the